Okay, today I'm just starting, I guess, to learn to live stream. I had a fast since Saturday at 10 in the morning, and I was just going to talk about that. Let me see here. It's now available. Turn this off. Okay. They're giving me these informations since I am new to this. I had done 3 videos beforehand. I just felt like I needed to do 3 videos. I did them. And after I did them on Saturday, I woke up and I ate as usual, but everything I ate tasted super good. And I knew something was up. So I was like, okay, I'm having a new training today. So that's fine. And after I ate, I ate around 7 in the morning. Then the next day, um, and then at 10 a.m., I ate some taco. And after that, I, I I couldn't eat. I didn't know why. I just couldn't eat, but I knew it had something to do with me liking the breakfast so much. It just tasted, my senses were really high at that time. So it's like something's up. And then everybody sat down to eat for lunch, and I could not eat. I felt repulsed by the food. So I couldn't eat, and that is not normal for me. So they told me, well, just get some snacks for me to be on the go. And I said, okay, but I couldn't touch the snacks. I felt really repulsed with food. So I was like, I don't know what's going on. And I went out and then I uploaded the videos. And after the uploads, that's when I got, okay, you did 3 videos. Now you're going to do a 3-day fast. And I was like, hmm. And if it's a light nudge, it's recommended. I don't have to do it. It's recommended that I do that. But it was a push. So when a push is done, I know it's mandatory. I have to do it. So so I said, okay, I start Saturday at 10 and I'm going to end it Tuesday, which is today at 10 in the morning. So I was like, fine, that's what I have to do. So I'll do it. But this was after me praying and praying over my health. So um, I guess this was the answer to my prayer for health. I needed a fast. And it was good. The first day of my fast, after 12 hours, a lot of energy work here in the front of my brain, and it went towards the third eye. And there was just a lot of stuff going on there, some clearing. So I just lied down and I just let it happen. It happened for maybe 30 minutes and then it went away. And so for the fasting, it was just the first day. I did drink like 16 ounces of Coke and water. And so that I can go to sleep, I drank 2% milk. And that was what kept me through the night. And the next day, same thing, just water. And we made beans, and the beans, usually I just throw away the extra water. I always put it down the drain. This time, it was beans with onion and a lot of spices. So this time, because of my fast, I got a cup of the water, the liquid from the beans, and it tasted really good. And I was like, wow. And all this time, all these years, I just throw it away if it's too much. So I should have been drinking it. So that really filled me up. 1 cup of that liquid kept me going. So I was like, wow. And now I guess when you're fasting, you gain new perspectives. And before I would eat extra because I always thought, oh, I do extra energy work and so I should eat more than the regular portion. And during fasting, I realized, no, I don't need that extra portion. So all these years, I've been lying to myself. So you learn a lot when you're fasting that you didn't, you have uh, every 4 hours you're taught to eat. During fasting, it wasn't mandatory to be eating for every 4 hours. And at night, I just drink 16 ounces of 2% milk, and that would help hold me off for the next day. So that was pretty awesome. I always thought I have to eat some food. I always have to eat this, do this, and the fasting taught me that all of that was just in my head. I didn't need to do that. I didn't. So most of the fasting, it was just learning little things like that. And it did teach me during the 3 days. After the first day, my family wanted to take me to the emergency room. They thought, oh, if you really can't eat, then you're obviously sick, so we need to take you to the emergency room. And I was like, no, I don't need to go to the emergency room. I just don't feel like eating. They didn't get it. Because I don't fast. I'm not the type to fast. But this year, I did a 2 day fast, and now I did the 3 day fast, which ended this morning. And that's not normal for me, but it was mandatory. I was like, you're gonna do this. Like, and anytime I do, like if I get a push to do something and I don't do it, sometimes I want to research and I'll say, okay, well, let me just not do the opposite and see what happens. And that never turns out good for me. Um, so I just did it. I don't need to find out anything. Just do it. That's basically what went through my head. I'm just gonna do it. And then on the third day, I did notice that I was real itchy, real itchy. My skin was real itchy, and but then at the when night came, the itching stopped, and um, I just felt a clearing. It was a different feeling, and it was nice. So I it didn't happen till the third day. And then so this morning after the whole thing, I ate again after 10, and everything went back to normal. And I just have a newfound knowledge after fasting about, okay, I don't have to eat so much. I don't have to. This is for my health. I'm trying to do whatever I can for my health. Um, the main reason that I'm working now for my health is because I, you can call it my ego, but I used to see like a far away. I could read everything, all the signs, and now this year my vision started going blurry, and I'm wearing reading glasses, and so I guess it could be my ego. I want my vision back. I want to be able to see far and see near, and you know everything else that happened to me, I was all fine with it. But once my vision starts going blurry, now I'm not fine with it. So I am trying to work hard for my health, and uh, trying to understand the energies behind it so that I can help others that are going through it. Some people will tell you, "Oh, it's just it just happens over time," and I don't believe that. Things don't just happen over time, and not this fast. This went too fast for me, so I'm like, nope, I'm not with it. So that is why I've been asking for my health. Um, and then after this, on my third night, which was last night, I kept thinking, well, what if I like fasting so much that I become anorexic or something if I keep going too far? And I was at praying about it. I still want to become healthy. I want to be able to stop having to use reading glasses to read. I want to try and get all my health back. And I was afraid that maybe I would like this too much, and I would start trying to fast too much, trying to lose weight too much, doing everything, going from one side of the spectrum to the other. And so that was worrying me because I did like the fasting. It did feel good. And um, so I went to sleep thinking about that and I kept asking about it because I was worried. And when I worry, I really worry. So I kept asking and asking. So I had this dream. Um, this girl was in the sideline and she had a balloon in each hand. And there was the community would go out to play. And there was this guy that she liked, and he would be like, come and play with us. You just have to let go of the balloons. And the girl didn't want to let go of the balloons. She loved them more than she loved him or her, the community. So she wouldn't let go of the balloons. And this happened every day. Every day, the community would go out to play, and she wouldn't want to let go of the balloons. And the guy was real, like just waiting for her answer, and he was very polite, and so she kept getting more balloons and more balloons in each hand. So she had a whole bunch in the end in both hands. And he would come over and he'd tell her, "Do you want to come with the community?" And she would just look at him because she didn't want to let go of those balloons. They had grown into many balloons. So I was like, well, what does this have to do with my fasting? And I thought, well, I did feel like that when I was fasting because whenever my family would eat, I would just drink water or drink some of the soup from the beans, and I did feel awkward because they would look at me and ask, what are you sick? Do you need me to take you to the doctor? And so it was awkward. So it was kind of like they were the community and I was holding on to my balloons, my fasting, and I couldn't participate. And so it was kind of like the balloons are air. So basically fasting is not eating. So it was eating air. And the balloons kept getting more and more, and so it became, once the girl had too many balloons, he just couldn't let go of them. So that's where the dream had ended. So I was thinking, maybe if you keep on and keep on acting this way, refusing to like eat with them, or just do a little bit of eating just to be part of the community, part of the family, um, it's awkward. You're not participating in your community when you do stuff like that. So then I thought, oh, that's so true. I did feel so awkward when I was fasting. And so I thought, yeah, that dream was good. Yep, that is so true. I will. So whatever you ask for, usually you get it in your dreams. You just got to pay attention. If you're praying for one thing and it's going to come out in your dream. The answers always come to you, or the very next day, it'll just like hit you. That's what normally happens. So after the fast, when I had that dream, I thought, yeah, that is so true. That's knowledge for you right there. So um, I finished my fasting. It did clear up a lot of misconceptions that I had about food and what keeps you healthy. I thought if I didn't eat, I won't be healthy. And that's not true because I would eat stuff that I wasn't supposed to. I was eating a lot of junk food. So, and then I would see like my little stash of M&Ms. I loved chocolate, and then I thought, I used to think I had to eat it as a snack, eat something. So I'd get a little bit of M&Ms, and that would keep me going. So during the fast, when I would see the M&Ms, I'd be like, oh, I didn't need that, and it's not even healthy for me to be eating like that. So fasting is not just for religious purposes. It can be for your health because that was what was given to me. I kept asking, I need to become healthier. You know, I want my vision back. I want to be able to see clearly again. Um, and that was my main concern on my health. I wanted to get back to being more the way I was before. And fasting was given to me twice this year. It was mandatory. So I just did it. And my daughter was telling me that in her, well, with me, because I don't really believe in the churches, I'm a holiday Catholic. I let my children, if they have friends that go to a certain church, if my kids want to go, I tell them they can go. And I just let them know, okay, but just remember, Almighty God's above everything. If the pastor says anything that just doesn't go with you, like you feel a block, just talk to me and we can talk about it. So that's what I do with my kids. They usually ask me about like hell and, because a lot of the pastors scare them or something. And so that's the main thing that they ask me about. What is this? And if I do this, the pastor said this was going to happen to me. So we'll just talk about that. And um, I don't mind them going off to different churches. A church is a church, it's man made. So to me, it doesn't make a difference. Man made stuff is just that man made. So I tell my kids, you know, if you're drawn towards a certain church, go to it. I'm not going to tell them no. So this is what happened with me. I had to do fasting for my health, and I actually feel a lot better. This part of my brain is the one that was being messed with right here in the front, and my third eye was being messed with during the fasting. So I don't know what that means, but it was kind of nice feeling the changes there. And I'm gonna keep on trying to do these things, trying to get my health back up. Um, I definitely want my vision back, but also our eyes are connected to our whole body. There's something called iridology, and it talks to you about how each part of your eye, what it's talking to you about when you see redness or lines or things like that. So So I'm understanding very clear that my eyes have eyesight has to do with my whole body. So I need to start making changes and start eating healthy again, stop eating junk food. And it's hard because junk food is cheaper than the other food. But I always think I need a lot, and I'm noticing that that's not the case. You actually feel better when you just eat just right, what your body is telling you to take in. And that's something new for me because I like to eat a lot of junk food. So now I have to switch. And switching is hard for me because I'm a stubborn person. So for me, I basically have to be forced to do stuff. And that's, let me see what this say. Okay. A little bunch of stuff comes up right here when you're doing the live chats. And this live chat, this morning, it wasn't a nudge, it wasn't recommended for me. I was pushed, like you're gonna do your fasting report live. You've got it. Like I needed the experience, so I need to start learning to do this. So that's why I had to do this live. I had to start learning this. So this was not that I wanted to do; it was a push. And this is why I was born anyways. I knew since I was a child that I was contracted in to talk about our true self, which is spirit, and I was supposed to start helping out with the international politics. So a lot of the sensitives or light workers or whatever they're wanting to be called, whatever, um, they'll tell you no, politics is bad and this and that, and well, it's still part of us here. Oh, hi, Dead GPK. Yay! My first visitor. Today's my first live. Um, I was talking about my fasting, which I had to do. I was pushed. If I'm just nudged, it's just a recommendation when they want me to do something. I don't know Almighty God, spirit guides, whatever you want to call them. I guess I just see them as energies. If it's a little nudge and then they tell me to do something, it's recommended. But if I feel like they push me, um, it's mandatory. I must do stuff like this. And today I was pushed that I had. And when it began today, I wasn't gonna. I was like, well, maybe I'll do it if the internet works with me. But I knew because it was a push that it was gonna happen whether I wanted it or not. So then the internet worked. So like, well, I guess I'll look at what it's telling me on YouTube. They make you go through hurdles. So you're just putting yes, no, and So I thought, well, if I get through this, then I'll do it. But these are things that you already know ahead of time. When you're pushed, you know it's going to happen because that's what you're here for. That's what you're supposed to do. Uh, so today I was supposed to do this fasting, what happened with my fasting online, so I can get started on learning how to do live. And so I thought, okay, so here I am trying to do live. Um, and so you have to, all these things work together. Like when you get a little nudge or you get a little push, the push is it's more of a knowing because when they push you, you know that's going to happen. And I have done research where I've decided, you know what, I know I'm supposed to do this, but I'm going to go the other way and let's see what happens. And every time, every single time I go the other way, it's chaos. And to get out of it, it was like, whoa, stay strong and we'll send prayers. Yay, thank you. Um, so right now I am working with health, my health. So I'm working with health energies around me and I'll look at them and when they're coming in and because that way when I do get healthy, I can actually help others because I followed the energies coming to me. If I get a download, I'll stay still and I'll be like, okay, what's coming down? You have to concentrate in order to understand what's the download coming down. Um, you may think it feels good, but what if it isn't? So I'll concentrate on the downloads too. Some downloads have been songs. So, and I saw this once. I wanted to say this. I saw this on, I think it was an ex cult member. He was talking about how they control the music industry, and he was talking about how in the music industry they got someone getting, I guess, the copyright for a song. And then someone else had the exact same song trying to copyright it, but it was too late because this other guy had already gotten it. And they would ask him, where did you get the material? How did it come to you? And some would say, oh, they were drugged out. And in their drug induced state, they got that download. They got the lyrics. It came down to them. And others would say, oh, I was dreaming and I saw it in a dream. So when they woke up, they wrote it down. And so I was surprised to hear that a cult member was talking about this stuff, but he was an ex cult member. And you would think that only the satanic people, that GPK put, I have heard that before, very interesting. It is interesting because I would get them. And when I heard him say that, I was like, oh my God, am I satanic? And I was like, no, I work with Almighty God. So they're downloads. They come down. And he was talking about how it was happening internationally. It wasn't just like uh, they work the music industry everywhere, international. So this song was downloaded to people around the world at the same time. And the first one that went to the copyright office was the one that had the rights to that song. But that song's not theirs. People think that, oh, I did this, so I deserve the money and I deserve billions. No, you don't. Because the truth is, they're downloads. Everything repeats itself because we're we're in avatars basically. We are the true self in us is the spirit, and because it's so the downloads are come to your spirit. You can, some people can hear them and some people can't. Some people just see the light. Like every time I get a download, I'll ask the people around me, what did you see? What did you hear? The second before I asked you this, what did you feel anything different? Was there a change? Most people just look at me like, "Oh, not again. Why are you?" It's like, because this is what I do. So I just got a download. This came down. I want to know what you all felt. And most people don't feel anything. I'll be in the car and most people are like, no, nothing. Everything's the same. And once I got the download because I was having a very bad week, and I was crying while I cry when I drive, and I was crying, and I was like, oh my God, can things get any worse? And I was just crying, and the downloads before last year they used to come into the back. I could feel the download come hit me in the back, and it would go through my body, and I could tell, I could read it, I could hear, don't worry, it's going to get better. Downloads aren't just new information. Sometimes it's help. They're like, we hear you, just calm down, everything's going to be good. And when I heard that, I was like, oh, I felt so good because someone, and my daughter was sitting next to me, and she was like, what the? I was like, okay, well, I knew it was the download. So I was like, did you hear something? Because I thought she had maybe heard this, them talking to me. And she said, no, I saw, seriously, it was just bright, bright light. And I was like, well, what color was it? And she said, it was white. It was a really bright light. And I saw it, and like it hit the car. And I guess she thought something happened to the car. No, it was a download. So she could see it as light. So when people say they got a light download, it's the same thing. It's just manipulated by us in different ways. So if someone says, oh, I got a light download, well, those people probably see the light like my daughter saw. And I hear it. It goes through me and I can hear it. I could see it. I can read it, depending. And when the songs come down, I could hear them. They sound very heavenly. And I'm like, oh my God, and I'll ask my kids, do you all hear that? And they're like, Mom, do we need to take you to the doctor? I'm like, no, it sounds very heavenly. And I didn't know about that. So if I had known, I would have written it down. And now I'm thinking, if a song comes down, I'm gonna go live because it's a download. That's all that is. It doesn't belong to one person or the other. It's universal, and you will hear a lot of people all around the world have the same song. But who goes first? That's the one that ends up. And when I saw that an ex-cult member was talking about this, I was like, okay, my computer's doing stuff. Let me see. Okay, what did it say? I saw some green clouds today, and then I noticed a Mandela effect. That can also be some kind of a download because everything around here is numbers, and that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, a lot of people are so greedy. You'll have a lot of people say, oh, I have billions, but it's because I'm smart, and I have this nice car, and I have this because you know, I'm smart too. I was a valedictorian. I got downloads since I was a little girl. I remember stuff since I was a little girl. I remember what I was contracted in for. You don't see me with billions, but then again, my contract was to come in dirt poor. I always knew that. And I would tell my mom, and my mom would be like, why would anyone want to be poor? I was like, because that is the greatest emotion you can have. And I want the greatest emotion. So people that are born rich and then become poor, they end up killing themselves. They just can't handle it. So I thought, I want to be dirt poor first. And then I want the other experience. I want to be able to have money. I want to have it all. But that's another emotion because other things are attached to that. The same thing when you're poor, there's a lot of stuff attached to it, a lot of emotion. Sometimes you don't eat. What a very strong emotion that is to not be able to eat. It's like it hurts. You see your neighbors and it hurts. And people think that's just crazy. Why? Because we're spirit, and when we're out there, we have whatever we want, and we can make whatever we want. We can create whatever we want. So when we come in here, it's like, okay, I heard there's something called sadness. What's that? I can define it by the wording, by what people tell me. And when you're just out there, you can look into the people and the beings, and you can see their lives, and you'll be like, okay, what's that? And what's coming out of his eyes? Oh, those are tears? Well, what's that? We don't know when we're outside. So that's why we come in and we play. We're all playing here. So I see people online saying about heartbreak and all that. Like today I was on a channel where they're talking about heartbreak. And they're like prayers to the person. It's like, yeah, but that is a contracted, that's, I mean, heartbreak is the worst feeling ever. I remember being heartbroken and I wanted out. I didn't want to be here anymore. I was so heartbroken. I couldn't believe he didn't want to talk to me no more. You know, I wanted to ride by his house just so I can see him. It was tough and I didn't want to be there. And then one day, the thing that turned me around, I saw him in a vision. He was he was getting married and he was having kids. And I thought, what? I'm gonna kill myself, and he's gonna go off and he's gonna get married with that girl, and he's gonna have kids, and I'm gonna have nothing. It's like laters. I got up from the bed, I stopped crying, I started eating again. That was a little 100-pound thing 'cause I was devastated. And it went away. But when you're in that emotion, that is a very strong emotion. And why do we come down? Because these are things that we hear and we see others in, and we're like, gee, I wonder how that is. So that's why we contract into, let me just feel that once. I don't want to feel that again. After I felt that, I was like, no, I don't want to feel heartbreak anymore. I don't want to feel this anymore. I, I don't like pain. So I'm like, every time I feel like pain is coming up, I'll start praying like, no, sir, no, sir. I don't want to feel that pain. I know it's coming up. No. It is very tough. Yes, it is. But you can sense when it's coming. You just have this feeling, and it's like, no, no, thank you, sir. I don't want it. If pain is, and it's like you're gonna go through the pain. It's like make it as less as possible. I don't want to feel it too much. And I start putting parameters around it, like not too much, and I don't want that. And if it's on my arms, let me have afterward my arms back. I don't want anything cut, cut off or anything. So I start putting parameters around it. And I don't want this and I don't want that. And to try and force it to be less. And I'll keep praying and concentrating that my body be okay. And then I go through the process and the pain. And then I go out on the other side and it's like, oh, okay, I learned from that. I don't want to learn it again. So it it happens all the time. So right now I'm working on my health, and this is my second fasting, and I have never fasted before. And this year I did a 2-day fast, and now I did a 3-day fast. So it's very tough on me this year, my health. I'm trying to pick it up, but I don't know. And I've been reading on other stuff, and I'm looking in on those energies. There was one, because I was wondering, why don't they allow cannabis? Why are the states, the upper people, so against that weed? Why is it? And they kept saying, oh, because it's a gateway drug, that after they use cannabis, then they'll go on to other stuff. And so I was asking the other day, like, how is that possible? And why are they so afraid of it? They're not afraid of beer, and beer kills so many people. There's so many accidents, drunk drivers, all this stuff. But we still have beer. We still have liquor. Why is cannabis like the outlawed drug? That doesn't make sense. And the stuff they tell you is, you look at it and you're like, the same thing can be talked about cigarettes. The same thing can. So why is it? Why are they after this drug? It cannot be just, oh, it's a gateway drug, because you can say the same thing about other things. So I saw, and this person is also known as, okay, dead GPK. I have to drive now. Okay, drive. Right here it's 6:35 at night, so yeah, it's already dark out, and um, and that doesn't make sense to me. The information we're given is too little, and there's been research on in other countries where it helps out people with seizures, and it helps out. And I've never tried it, so I can't tell you what the energy of that is. I haven't followed it, but I got like a 50-page. It's kind of esoteric, so I wanted to see what they have to say about it. And after I read it, think about it, maybe do energy work and see what's behind it. Because everything here on earth, everything has a good and a bad. Like right now, I'm working on my money matters. And so this year, because I'm working on my money energy, it's not money, it's what's the word? Like wealth, opulence. And so this year, because I'm working on that, this year I keep seeing the number 711. And if you talk to a gambler, they'll say, "Oh no, that's bad because that's gambling and it's bad for you." And but when I do my I guess mantras, because I keep saying it over and over to myself, and that number is popping out now, 711. And I'll be driving and I'll see 711. And if you keep thinking about something in the negative, you need to understand that there's a negative and a positive for everything, everything. So that number is a programming. We have everything we do is programming. I was brought up since I was a little girl with a number three. And you will hear people tell you that there are programmings in with the number three, there's programmings with one, and they all have different significance and that you change in between them. And I still see threes. Ever since I was a little girl, I would wake up to 3:33 a.m. I'd open my eyes, I'd see the clock, and then I'd fall back asleep. And in the day, wherever I was, even if I was talking, I would stop talking at exactly 3:33 p.m. So I had the number three always ingrained in me. So I know there is programming behind us. And this is a matrix. So what do you want from it? There will be coding. There will be, that's the way this is. And all these things where they talk to you about, oh, this thing doesn't exist. Um, if you think about it, if you hear about it, it already exists because somebody was thinking about it and brought it in. For you to talk about it means it exists. So I've heard some people say like, oh, they'll get mad at some other religion, say that religion doesn't exist. This is crazy. If somebody believes in it, it exists. We are creating that. We create all the time. Every day we create. Every day we keep on with the same programming of eating every 4 hours. You're programming yourself by doing it daily. So you believe every 4 hours you have to eat, and you have to do this. You have to. You're programming yourself by doing it daily. And when you're thinking something daily, that's what you bring to yourself. That's what when I hear someone say, "Oh, I had a bad," don't say it. And they'll say, "Oh, this person did this bad thing to me," and I say, "Well, not because you said it. You let it out there to the universe. You let them know that you want more of that." "Oh no, I'm just saying." No, everything you say, everything you think, you're creating it. So if you say you had a bad day and you describe it out loud, you bring it out into the world again, that means you liked it. The world's kind of like a machine, it's programming. And if you keep saying you hate your job, you hate this, you hate, um, the mechanics behind this, it thinks you're saying that's what you want for tomorrow. So tomorrow you're going to have it worse. The next you're going to have it worse. So you have to reprogram and rethink stuff. People think that nobody can hear your thoughts or prayers, or that's all lies too. When you do a prayer, they try and get to you by showing you a bird on your windowsill. And that's just to let you know, like it's a physical affirmation of, yes, we hear you and we are helping you as best we can. You ignore that. You don't see the reasoning behind it. So you keep praying another day, and you keep praying the same thing. You keep praying, and they're noticing you're just praying for the same thing. And they keep trying to send you signs in the programming. Someone will be nice to you. You hear someone in the library talking to you that never talked to you before. You'll just have all these, and you don't believe them. So you keep praying the same thing over and over again. So what happens? They send it off to somebody here, and somebody else will try talking to you and try making your life better. And uh, it's not just what we think of as angels. We are also helping one another. We're all in the system. We're on the programming. So if you keep on praying for the same thing, they're gonna get tired and they're just gonna give it to like someone like me. I've heard people's prayers, and I know that it's my job to go to them, even though I haven't seen them in years. I'm gonna be like, "Oh, how are you doing?" and try and be nice to them. And all that is part of trying to get them to understand, just chin up, look up, start thinking positive, and you will come out of that hole you put yourself into. You put yourself there. So I'll go. I went to two people and I told them this, and I freaked the out of them. And I told them, okay, last night you prayed this and you said this, because when a prayer comes to me, it's like I'm seeing them right in front of me, and I can hear everything they say and their thoughts, and they'll say, oh please, I would like, and I'd hear it clear as day because I'm there. I can. It's just like a video. So I'll go up to them and I'll say, hey, last night you said this, and you were asking for this, and so I was sent to you because you're not listening to the signs around you. You're not listening to that people are coming in to try and help you, and you're simply ignoring everyone. So I'm kind of like your last resort. Um, People that come to you, they're trying to help you. You need to start, accepting. If you really wanted help, then accept their help. And they would just look at me like, and they wouldn't even say anything to me. So after I freaked out two people, I said, well, I'm not gonna. I don't want to do that because it just freaks people out. People think that their prayers just are just to invisible beings and invisible source, and that us normal people, us sensitives, we have no part in it, and it's like just them, and that's not how it works. First, it's them, and they try and get to you, and they try to let you know that they're there to help you, but you need to stop saying that I want, everything you say, it comes. So stop saying I had a bad day. Don't say it out loud. Stop saying stuff like that out loud. Because you're asking. That's the main thing in the Bible. It's there for a reason. Asking you shall receive. And people don't understand that. It's true. Everything you say out loud, you receive because you asked for it. So you'll see it. You'll see the little bird at your windowsill. You'll see the geese flying by, real cute. You'll see nice things that you haven't seen in a while. They're trying to calm you down. They're trying to help you reverse course, but you keep going, barreling forward. So they will send me. I'm like a last resort when it comes to prayers. The psychics around you, the people that call themselves light workers. I call myself a sensitive. We I know that as a child I volunteered, and I said, you know what? I don't want to be obligated to come back. I want to come back if I want to, but so I want to volunteer to pick up my good karma, right? And so whenever someone's not listening, they show me their prayer. They show me what they're needing. They'll tell me to go and speak words of wisdom to them, try and get them to rethink about what they're saying out loud, what they're thinking. So, some people, I will hear their thoughts, and it's for me to tell me, okay, you need to reverse what you're doing. And I've seen online where people say, oh, the craziest one. Now that I'm on, what do they call themselves? born again Christian, I don't sin. My gosh, that's just crazy. I've been a Christian since childhood. Well, I'm a holiday Catholic, but I read the Bible on my own every year because that's them trying to get to. It's as more esoteric than anything, but people think of it as physical, but the Bible is more esoteric. And ask and you shall receive, that's trying to get you to get to that mindset of everything you say out loud, it's what you want. So make sure that what you say is what you want. Skip, I had a bad day. Skip, so and so did this to me. Skip, look at the good side of the day and say it out loud. And the next day, that good side will get better. And then that's how it works. And this year, it's so powerful that that is even stronger. People are stronger that way. But so there's just so much. And the other thing that they say I've seen, what was it? The born again one just crazy. Um, you're here in human form to learn about emotions, and you will have errors happen. You'll have boo boos. So you will sin. So that's just crazy. That's just, I don't know why people say that. Another one, oh, they don't believe in the Bible where it says that you can sin through your thoughts. Of course, you can sin through your thoughts. That's where you create, that's where your true self is. A lot of times you'll feel pains and you'll go to the doctor and they'll say, you're fine, you're fine. Um, it's all in your head. And we get mad. I know I get mad when they tell me it's all in your head. But then I think, well, thank you. Because the doctor just told you it's in your spiritual self. It's not in your physical yet. Because it can come through your spirit and hit your physical, or it can go through your physical by you kicking your and hurting your toe on a stool. Well, that's physical because you hit your toe on the stool, so then your spirit feels the pain also after. But then there's another way where the spirit gets the defect and you can feel it, but it's not showing up in the physical yet. So that's just helping you understand maybe you need to concentrate and, you know, or meditate or prayer or however. It's just concentration. You need to concentrate on yourself. So if the doctor tells you there's nothing showing up, then it's still in your spirit. So work on it. So they tell you, oh, it's not coming out, thank them. If they tell you it's on your head, thank them. Because that means you've got work to do. What you could do is go get a massage so it releases some of the from the physical and it makes your spirit feel better. You could go, they have so many sessions now where they do what is it with that stone where they do your, I don't know what it's called, but anything that makes you feel better, do it. Whatever you've learned through time that helps you feel better, calmer, do it at that time when they tell you it's all in your head. That is actually the best news you can get because you can work on that before it ends up in your physical. So that does occur. So thank the doctor and take care of yourself. So that's actually good. But yes, you can sin through your thought. There have times when I once asked, let me hear what people are thinking about me, because since I was a child, I was always really, really woo. I was helping out with the council and I was reviewing people around me. I was doing all kinds of stuff. And I knew things and I would tell my mom and my mom would say, please, Mija, don't tell no one. She would cry. I'd say, okay. But then my relative, we had a chismosa come in and she would tell, okay, this person, this relative, guess what he did last night? He blah, 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 blah. And now he's in jail. And my mom would just stare at me like, oh my God, she knows. It was actually, I told my mom, I told you it was real time. I told you that it was happening last night, and I had to review what he was doing and give a recommendation of what I felt that needed to be done because he was breaking code. He was doing what he wasn't supposed to. He was getting into somebody else's, like, we have our contract, and then when someone else has a contract, and when we use free will to hurt that other person, then we have to be reviewed. There's a council over us for that. Everyone has someone over them checking them, making sure they do not collide. So when they collide, they like for one of us humans to be in the review, be in the council, and they show you like a video of what is happening, and you're like over them, and you can see everything happening, and then the video stops and there's silence, and that's where you give your recommendation through your mind. You don't say it out loud. My mom already thought I was crazy, so it was all through my mind. I would say, well, I never wanted to recommend jail time. So I was always like, no, do not get the police involved, because then they will be messed up for life, because then they can't get a job. They have all these things in their way. And no, I never liked that. So it was, but sometimes they did go to jail, and I knew they just went with the council decided that there was more of them with though his in jail. So I was like, oh, okay, well, I at least gave my recommendation, right? No joke. I did not like jail time for it, and I kept telling them, I was like, please don't get my family in jail. I don't want them in jail because it's gonna ruin them for life. But they would still end up in jail. But I felt good in my heart that, I recommended other ways of dealing with them. And it happens all the time. But people have that privacy issue. You are now at a time where you're going to understand that there's no such thing as privacy. But it's fun for me to watch you all talk about, oh, my privacy is being invaded. And I'm like, girl, your privacy has never been there. It's an illusion. I mean, anytime I think of somebody, when someone comes up in my vision, check on them. So I pop in sometimes on people, and every time I pop in on a person, I pop in over them and to their right. So I'm watching over their right shoulder. And it reminds me of the Bible, where the Bible says that Jesus Christ goes to the right hand of God. And that's, you go to the right hand of people when you're checking on them. And I always think, man, that's probably the esoteric meaning. That's why we pop in to the right, because it's kind of letting people know that this is where we go through. We go through the right hand of people when we pop in. When I pop in, I always end up on the right side over them. And when I see the Bible, I see the esoteric side of it, because I train through my spirit, through Almighty God. And if you see drawings of different healers, you'll see the shamans show up with whatever animal they work with. They'll be riding them. You'll see them on the paintings, and then you'll see the Christians, and they're just floating. It's true. Those paintings are correct, because I float. When I go off somewhere, I'm floating. I don't have a, I'm not over an animal. Well, sometimes, I like to every now and then. I used to when I was a teen. I had a animal friend, but as a Christian, when I go off somewhere and I ask to be somewhere, I'm floating. I just float over there, and I'm seeing everything. And a lot of times, everything is real time. That's why my mom would say, I need to take you to a counselor, because Mija, the things you see, they're just not normal. You're just too far. But then when my relatives would come and everything I said was true and it was real time, just like I said, my mom knew that she just said, well, I guess that's just your dawn. That's just something that you do. She said, but please don't promise me. When I was little, I couldn't tell anyone, because, but I would mess with I like to play around a lot. I wanted to hear my cousin say, yes, I did something wrong last night and I feel sorry for it, or something, just something. They would never cop to it. I would tell my cousin after I reviewed him on the next day I'd say at the bus stop, so what did he do last night? Because I already knew what he did. And they would look at me like, why is she being so specific? They knew something was up with me. So they would just be like, oh no, I just went home straight home and I went to sleep early. It's like, yeah, right. I saw what you did. But I couldn't say it because it was part of my volunteer work. It was part of I was working with the council. I hear a lot of people say, give councils names online. I had no name for my council. I still don't have a name for my council. I just know that I work through Spirit and I do volunteer work and I help review, but I only review the light stuff, very light. I once saw something that I never wanted to see in my life. I don't ever want to see a relative of mine. Um, I don't like them hurting each other. And I was small and I saw this and I told the council, never again. You give this hard stuff to other people that can handle it. I cannot handle it. So I want you to erase what I just saw. I'm gonna go to sleep right now. Please erase it. I don't want to remember it. But from now on, I only do light work. I only want to see maybe they were what something small. I don't want to see them hurting each other. So I fell asleep, and the next day, the I knew I had seen an image, but I couldn't go back to it. So I knew it was blocked. So I was like, good. I was like, I don't ever want to see a relative, a friend, or anyone hurt one another like that. And after that, the council never showed me. It went off to someone else. There are a lot of us here that do this work. So someone else got the heavy stuff because I could not handle it. And you can do that if you start working with council. If you're seeing someone that you know when it's too much for you, you can tell them, get this out. I'm gonna go to sleep, when I wake up, please have it blocked. I don't want to remember it. Don't ever give me something that hard. They need our help because they would like to have a human in, helping with the recommendations. Human over human. So yeah, that can happen. So yeah, that can happen. And it's all up to you. You're the one that makes your own parameters. You're the one that came in. You're the one that, if you sense you're going to come up to something that's going to hurt too much, you can set up a parameter and say, okay, I understand something bad's going to happen, but I don't, you can do that. Okay, floodwater music, I might handle the heavy stuff. Oh, good. I couldn't. Because I knew when you see TV, you know that it's all acting. But when you're working with council and you see that, oh my gosh, it was too much. Because you know it's real time, you know it's happening as you're looking at it, you know that it just happened. And then they stop when that video stops and you have to give the recommendation. I couldn't. I couldn't. Because I knew the recommendation would be have them go to jail. Because look what they did. They broke a contract and they hurt this other person. It was all free will. So what am I going to recommend? And I know that if I do jail time, I'm now hurting their. So I'm like, I don't want to. I don't want to deal with it. I would rather send them light, send them energy to get them to get out of that horrible anger that they had. Because when they're doing that, that's a lot of anger, and you can sense it. That's a lot of anger, and it was too much for me. Like, nope. Send me light stuff. I will do the light stuff. I will review, um, but I can't see them doing that. And they're very good at it. The next day, I didn't remember, and I sensed that I had what I had done before, and I tried to see that what I had seen before, and I couldn't get in. It was blocked, and I was like, yes, thank you. And so when people say, oh, I've had stuff being blocked for me, and I don't like it being. I love it being blocked sometimes. Sometimes it's just too harsh. It's way too harsh. There's good and there's bad in blockage. I remember once they talk about astral projecting, and it sounds fun, and it is fun. But when I have had bad things happen, when you I assumed that because I was in spirit and my body was here, um, nothing can happen to me because I'm spirit. What can happen to me? Yeah, stuff can happen to you, even if you're just in spirit. When I was in Mars, I was grabbed, and something bad happened to me because I knew I was going out there, and then it was blocked. And when I came to in the morning, I was like, what's going on? I feel blocked, and I could see like there was another being, and she was looking at me real worried, and I was basically told it was blocked for my protection because something bad happened to me, and I had gone without. I went by myself. The first time I went by myself because I assumed nothing will happen to me, and that was a wrong assumption. So after that, I did go to Mars, but I was under. I asked Almighty God to send me to take me to security. I set up the parameter. I want to be able to talk to someone. I once went, but I didn't ask to be able to talk to a being there to answer my questions. I just wanted to go. And sometimes you can go and you can just orbit or whatever. I went, and since I didn't set up the parameter and asked Almighty God that I wanted to talk to a being there, someone to answer my questions, I went there and nobody talked to me. And I was like, this is boring. So I left. But you're the one. You're the one that sets up your parameters. And you can go alone, but you can assume nothing will happen to me because I'm just going to astral project and I'll be fine. Some things can happen. And I was touched also when I was leaving Mars. They tried to get me, and the one that was there with me said, just kick him. And I've heard that a lot on YouTube. A guy, someone would have a near death experience and he'll be grabbed, and they'll hear a voice tell him, just kick him. And they'll kick him and they're fine. They'll be off. So that does happen. I guess it's part of the programming here. I don't know. But astral projecting is really fun. And you learn more. Like people will tell you, you'll hear like, oh, there's no such thing. There's nothing in Mars. Yeah, there is. I've seen military there. I was not allowed to see anymore. And when they did take me, because I kept on insisting, and I went through as a Christian under the.
Attention library
Whoa.
patrons, the library will be closing in 1 hour. If you were dropped off, please make plans to call your parents or arrange for a ride to pick you up. Thank you.
Okay, they're already closing. It's already 7 at night. And there's a lot of stuff that you can do through your true self. But all that you can do once you're gone too. And I assumed that once you die, that you get all this knowledge and you understand everything. So when my mom went, I thought, and I kept wanting to get to her, and they wouldn't let me, and they would block me and say, look, you're gonna confuse your mom. She's gonna think that she's still alive if she sees you. So you need to let her heal. So I was like, what do you mean let her heal? I assume because people were talking about time and space being just of the matrix. Well, she was still in the matrix when she died. She was waiting for us. I guess we wait for each other, all of our group, and then we take off, or I don't know. All I know is that she was still in the matrix. So my assumption that she all of a sudden becomes smart and understands me. I thought she would understand me once she passed away. I was like, well, good. At least now she will understand the council, and she'll understand everything I was doing, and she'll understand about my astral projecting, and she'll understand. And that's not the case. Everyone that has gone, I go and I check on them, and that's not the case. So I guess time and space, it's still going on. So for a month, I was not allowed to be near my mom. So I hijacked all my dreams because I was mad because they wouldn't let me get near my mom. So in the middle of every dream, I woke up and I would yell at them like, where's my mother? I want to see my mom. And I'd see them all, everyone acting in my dream would turn, look at me, and run towards me. And before I thought that was scary, but when my mom died and they weren't listening to me, I didn't care. I didn't care if it was scary. I would scream at them. Everyone in my dream, when I wake up halfway through my dream, I'd yell at them, "Where's my mom?" I was, and they showed me this girl, and she says, "I'm your mom." I was like, "Please, you're not my mom. I want to see my mom now." So they would all run to me, and I wake up every night for a month. I hijacked my dreams until my mom showed up and said, "Look, I'm healed. I feel better." And it's like, so then I could talk to her. But for a whole month, I hijacked all my dreams. I was mad. I did so much stuff. And then they would make me believe that I was alone. And I knew I wasn't alone. I knew someone was listening. So one day I thought, you know what? Let me test them. So I said, well, you know what? I want to go with my mom. I think it's time for me to go. And my room fluttered. I could hear wings, and I could hear someone say, okay, I'm new to this. Somebody help me. This is, so it's like, yeah, you all are here. Okay. But we assume things and they're not that way. But I wish it was that way my mom could say, Mija, I finally understand you. But no, she volunteers too. So I see her every now and then, and she answers me when I call her. Once she didn't answer, because they have to do work too. So she was doing something, and I kept wanting her by my side. I wanted to see her, so I kept on bugging her. Finally, she yelled some bad words, and I was like, there's my mom. Reminded me, like, yeah, that's my mom. She's yelling bad words at me in Spanish. Cool. So, yeah, I assume, and it's not true. Okay. They're doing some divine healing. I'm in the chat area if you have questions. In understanding divine messages. I understand. So there's so much that happens through you. You are in charge. You came in with your contract. Anyone violates your contract, there is people and beings that are ready at the moment to assist or to help change it or to get the culprit or there's always someone and others watching. There's no such thing as privacy. Once you understand spirit, you'll understand that you're never alone. You feel alone, but you're never alone. You're here, you've got a team, you're okay, but this is all for us. Flood out your music. I don't know anything about astral projection, but I'm pretty sure I can cloud burst. What's that? I never heard of that. Yeah, right now I'm dealing with healing energies. I'm looking into something on cannabis because I'm wondering why is it so outlawed? There has to be more than just, oh, it's a gateway drug. I need more than that to have that outlawed. So I'm going to look in on that energy and some other energy, but I'll post once I look into it. Right now I'm dealing with healing, the cannabis energy. I'm going to look in on that and another thing. I don't want to say it. It'll come out later. But yeah, we assume things, but this is the year where you're going to understand that everything you're assuming um, it's not true. There's so much going on, and we're all going to learn it. And I just know a little piece of it, and I can talk about that little piece I know. And you just got to be prepared that yes, this stuff happens. Yes, other people can answer your prayers. That's what psychics are for. That's what the sensitives are for. If you refuse to listen to the other avenues they use, you're going to deal with this. And I always tell people, okay, I am the last resort. You're not listening. This is what's coming through for you. This is, and they always freak out with me, but sometimes you need a slap in the face, like, hey, you're asking for the same thing. You're being given the answer. You're just not listening. And it's been done to me too. I had a while that I hadn't seen someone like me or heard someone like me. And then one day I was at school and I was in college, and a girl turned to me and she said, "You've been having like 3 days where you've been wanting to talk to me, but you never get the courage. You always do something else." And I'm like looking at her like, "What?" She goes, "You are having issues with a dog at your friend's house. A dog keeps you keep seeing like a something jump out and bark at you and try and bite you. That's another spirit in that house that is doing that." And she was seeing stuff that I never told anyone. I didn't even tell my friend that that was the reason I didn't want to go to her house anymore, because I kept seeing her dog lunge at me and bite me. It was another spirit, and she saw it. And I was like, "Oh my God." And she would tell me all these things and that I didn't tell anyone. They were just in my mind. She knew it. And I was like, "Yeah, there's others." I just needed a confirmation that there were others. I knew there were in my head, but I wanted to see it. And I saw her. She was of Italian descent, and her relative was a main guy in the Catholic Church, and he was always praying. So she ended up, it was just wonderful. I was just happy. The name for moving and dissipating clouds with one's mind or energy is cloud busting. I've never tried that. I'll get trainings, like I'll get like a knowledge, like, hey, this training is ready for you. And if I don't feel like it's relevant, I just say, nah, I don't need it, skip it. So there have been trainings that I've skipped. The one about what they do at the churches where they speak in tongues, I was told, hey, and I thought, but if when I'm in front of someone and something happens, I will know how to do it. You will help me. And I skipped that training. And I skipped a lot of trainings. And then afterward, I think, why didn't I just do it? But me and my head, I overthink stuff. I even had a training. I had a hell training. I was supposed to go to hell, and I was supposed to preach and talk to them about God. And I just thought, I overthought it, and I thought, why would I go to hell? It would be like an ego trip because I can't take them out. Well, I was assuming that we can't take them out of hell. So I said, why would I want to go and hurt those people like that? They're already hurt enough being there. If I can take them out, well, that'd be different. I would like to go down there and talk to them. So I overthought it and I just didn't train. And now I think I should have done it. Why did I overthink it? I would have learned something else. I would have known that assumption that I had of hell was just an assumption. It wasn't true. I would have learned, but I overthink stuff. So some of the training, I just like, nope, that's not for me. I'm not gonna do it. It's irrelevant. And afterward is when I think, oh, why didn't I just do it? It's just we get in our way. And if you feel like you're gonna get a training, just go for it. I overthought so many trainings that I'm just like, I should have just done it. And now there's people that give that training and they charge like a 900 and I'm like, what for? I get those for free. Your spirit gets those training. You just ask and you will receive. That is esoteric. That is not just a physical thing in the Bible. It's flat out telling you in your face. Whatever you ask, you will receive it. If you want a training, you don't need a train in a physical. You can get it through spirit. It's just a simple download, simple. It's not a big deal. We're the ones that make it a big deal. But it's all free. Everything I learned, everything I do, the energies I follow, the energies I follow are through the council because sometimes they would show me someone doing something, but the white lies are the ones that get me. When someone does a white lie, I'll just look at the video and be like, what did they do? I don't understand what they did. And because I asked in my mind, I go through the energy underlining that white lie. It feels ugly. And I'll think, well, what does that have to do with anything? Why? It doesn't seem relevant. Why are we judging? Why are we recommending for this white lie? Then they'll go into how it affects the one she's with, how it affects the parents, hearing them. It, it, it makes you cry afterward. And then you realize after you see how the white lie went into all these people's lives, that's when you understand, okay, that white lie, I got to start, picking my battles. And they'll make me cry, and then I'll just recommend something small. But white lies are always get me. It's like, okay, I'll look at it. What does it mean? Why do we judge? And she's just, white lies have very bad energy underlying them. So you need to be careful with the white lies. I do them too, but I pick my battles because I know I'm going to clear that bad energy. I can't just leave it here. You will have to clear your energies. And the white lies are the ones that are multiplying in my area. So be careful with your white lies. They seem small, they seem unimportant, but the underlying, because when you do a white lie, the energy under it is deceit, and deceit is a very bad energy. So even though it's just a little deceit, it's still a little bad energy, and it compounds and it compounds, especially with the people that are always saying, honey, does this make me look fat? You're causing deceit because you want that other person has to tell you that you look good. So that person, even though he's like, I've seen you better, he has to say, oh yeah, you know. So you created the deceit energy that spiraled him to deceit back. And then he told his mom that he was feeling sad. Why? Because he just did a deceit, and he keeps having to do the deceit because you keep forcing him to do that. So it compounds. The white lie is a white, and that's the worst one in my community. Does this make me look fat? Is the worst white lie, and it is used so much, and it is something that you should just steer clear from. That is the worst around here. Okay, flood and water music put Sun Tzu writes, deception is the most crucial factor in war. And just in a regular little family, that's the biggest deceit. If you know you're being deceitful, just don't say it. You don't need to ask someone, does this make me look fat? Because it will create war. If he says, I've seen you better, it's gonna cause friction, it's just gonna compound. So just don't say it. And I'm supposed to tell my community, like, stop doing these little deceits because they add up, but you're gonna have to clear all that. And I know when you're normal, you don't think about this stuff. You're like, it's your everyday life. It's not something and if I were normal, I'd be the same. Because I know when I review these white lies, I'm just looking to counsel, like, seriously. But I've learned not to ask and not to fight over those things. So I just recommend, okay, let her feel bad and let her think about, have elevator time or somewhere where she's got to think by herself, so she's not jabbering or going off and doing something else. So she has time to think about what she's doing, and just have it float in front of her so she is thinking about that. That way she will think, okay, maybe I shouldn't say this anymore. That's usually my recommendation for a white lie. So the council, there's more. So sometimes they do it, sometimes they do something else. But it's to help you put a mirror in front of you and let you know, like, hey, you see this? You need to stop. And if they don't listen to that, then I have to go in and I have to talk to them face to face. And the face to faces aren't good because it annoys me, because now I have to get out of my zone and go over to wherever they're at. And if I haven't seen them for years, because since I work with spirit, I don't see people I'm just working with their spirit, reviewing them, doing stuff like that. So when I see them, I'm like, okay, I am here because you did this. And we need you to stop because you're just ruining your life. This is causing you to feel stressed. You're feeling fatigued. That's why you're feeling sick. So you're making yourself sick. So you need to stop doing these white lies and you'll feel better. You're gonna have to clear tonight. I'm gonna have it so that you clear these tonight. You're gonna feel tired tomorrow, but then you're gonna feel better because you'll feel lighter. Once you clear these things, you feel, oh my gosh, I feel so much lighter. Like when you feel when you go to church. Sometimes that's good too. When you go to church, it just elevates you to a point where you do clear there and you feel lighter when you come out in some churches. So all this stuff is you have to deal with what you do. People think that normal people think, oh no, this isn't this is just a little thing. And no, every white lie, it's like your accounts, your Yahoo or your Gmails, how they keep on stacking up more and more advertisement, more and more people emailing you. You have to sooner or later delete. That's the same thing with, I say AI is just, it's the middle of your physical self and the spirit world. That's why people get so scared about AI. They're like, oh my gosh, it's both good and bad. They're training wheels for you. This, what you're seeing here, how would you see me live in your car, on your phone, in your home? You could be in the toilet and you'd be seeing this. How is that possible in the physical world? It wasn't before computers. It wasn't before AI. It wasn't. So this is totally new for especially the normal people. I'm surprised that they took it so quickly. I thought normal people would be up in arms over technology, but it's always been here. The stuff like your TVs. I had a vision screen where I saw everything real clear as day. You guys can have your TV stolen. My screen up here, I guess they call it the third eye, or I don't know. It doesn't matter. I have it. No one can steal that because it's spirit. So they can steal your TV, physical TV. They can't steal mine. All this AI, it's mimicking us. Everything, like, it immediately gets, like, you type in a word and it'll get all these in within a second. We're better. We can do that. I call my mom. She immediately comes down. She just came down right now because I thought of her. She'll probably be mad at me later. When you think of anything, you immediately go there. It's not you. It's part of you ends up there. We're immediate, and they have these things in China now called quantum computers. Everybody's paying thousands for them. We're better than them. But we just don't believe. A lot of people do not believe in themselves. And that's the whole programming here. It's to help us with our emotions, to train on emotions that we cannot feel in spirit alone. So we have this physical avatar that we're in, and we're learning about different emotions. Can I cut my spirit finger? No, but I can cut the spirit, this one, the physical one, and I'll feel the pain and all that. I can read about it as a spirit. I can see others doing it in spirit, but it's like I have to get into a physical body to do it. I see when our spiritual bodies are born, it's just like a flash of light. And when I got pregnant one time, it felt like a camera just flashed and I felt it come out of my eye and I was like freaking out. So I just stayed stiff as a board trying to follow that energy, trying to find out, okay, what was it? Why did I see that big flash of light? What did it leave on me? What was the imprint? But then I guess I looked like I had died. Probably helped his ego thinking, oh my God, I killed her. I'm good. But so I had to stop following that energy. So I didn't know until now that I was helping a family member that couldn't have babies. I helped them open up. And that's when I saw the egg and I saw when they touched this light just whack and the vision just went off It was that strong. And I knew, the gender of the baby. I knew. And that's when I put two and two together and I thought, oh, I remember those flashes of light. Well, that was the physical, that was the egg, that was the beginning of this new baby, this new person, the physical. So it was cool. So everything just compounds, and we just have to learn to clear, and especially the regular people. You all are waking up little by little. This year was really strong. So this year, a lot of people woke up. And a lot of people are going to stay asleep because they need to have a normal life. They need to feel all the emotions. So they can't deal with spirit because they're going to deal with it once they die anyway. So they're just normal people. And we want them. Oh, I see a lot of people on YouTube say, oh, I wish so and so was awake like me. And no, you don't. Let them have their fun. Let them learn. That's what we're here for. So since I was a little girl, I wish sometimes my mom, I just wanted my mom. Let my mom, but no. I just knew stuff that scared her. So, and she still doesn't understand the stuff I do, but that's fine. She's volunteering on their side, so they have her busy too. And she had 7 days where she came down and she was with my relatives and she would spend a day with my brother and I knew where she was. She would tell me. So they have time with us too. Oh, and my grandchildren were brought down, and I remember my daughter saying, "Mom, I feel so bad that Grandma cannot be here to see my baby." And I told her, "What are you talking about? Grandma's with them. Grandma brings her down so I could play with her." And she was like, "Oh, Mom, that's not." It's like, yeah. I knew before the doctors. I knew, even told her that you're having a girl. I knew the moment she. I saw the creation. I saw when. So I knew she was a little girl. I knew. I played with her. I did it all. My daughter is like, oh, I wish. No, she knows, and she comes and she takes her and plays with her. And just because they die doesn't mean the body dies. The physical body dies. They don't. We assume that they died and they don't. But it's gonna open up more next year. So next year there's gonna be more people understanding but yeah, we assume stuff, but no. They come and they help with the children and they see them and they play with them and sometimes you'll see them in their sleep, the children, and they're laughing and laughing in their sleep. You know that they're with the family members. You know. They're laughing and they're having fun and they're probably playing pony with grandpa and grandma, you know? So it's all good. In the end, it's all good. Whether they're normal and stay normal, that's fine. Let them do their emotions. If they wake up, that's fine too. And each of us, people say they're lonely because each of us is put into the places where they're heavier energies. Like all my relatives, they're nothing like me. They're nothing like me. I used to tell my mom as a child, Mom, who threw us here? They need to be in trouble for throwing us here because my relatives were so different. But it's just that they seem to put us. They'll put like a little. It's like putting a crystal in the middle of different. Give them different energy. So I was the one for my community, and there's someone else. And so we're so far apart that we do feel physically like we're alone. we feel like we're alone and spiritually because we can't tell people what we do. Who's gonna listen to me say, I reviewed you last night. What were you doing? They're not gonna believe you. So what is happening next year? Someone wrote on dealing with horoscopes. The veil got lower this year, and it got lower. I saw more stuff, and the next year is going to be more more clearing for I don't know how many years. Horoscopes, the general horoscopes, I don't even have to look at it, and I'll feel the energies. And then when I'll go and look at the horoscope, it'll say at 9 something, this energy went through, and it's dead on. I mean, I felt it. And then, so the general horoscopes, they're going with the different energies. Every planet has its own energy. And when it's seen back through us here, it sends us that energy. So these horoscopes are going by that, by the energies that are being given to us. So they're spot on. And Bay Area, I went to California. I loved you guys. It's a different energy there. I went to San Diego, and I like the energy there. I hear a lot of bad things about California, but different places have different energies, and they're playing out. They're just playing out. I know some relatives that loved cowboy, the old cowboys that being out in the range and all that, and they wish they could go back to that time, but then they ended up moving out in the middle of nowhere, and they were playing their cowboy what they wanted. They were out in the middle of the range, away from people, and they played out what they wanted, and they were happy. So everyone goes where they need to go. Some people say, "Oh, I wish I was in the Victorian era." They're somewhere on this right now where they have that kind of energy, and they have that kind of thinking, and they end up there. So wherever you want to be, whatever energy you're attracted to, you'll end up there. Why? Because you're living out that what you want. The administrative state, yeah, that can be said here in Texas too. But things are changing. They were freaked out when they had sent a reporter over to Texas, and he was basically they were telling him, "Oh, it's a washout." Um, Between Ted and he was covering Ted and Beto, and they said, "Oh, Beto's not going to do good there. It's a Republican state. You're just covering it."
The library will be
And
closing in 30
it was
minutes.
practically half
Library
and
cards will
half.
start being issued and updated in
And that
15
reporter was
minutes.
like, "I was sent
Computer
here
use
as the
and Wi-Fi
worst,
services will also stop
the
in 15
worst
minutes.
report they had to do
Plans
that
to
day."
print or save your work.
So they
Thank
told
you.
him, "We're sorry, but you're going to be sent to Texas. It's going to be a washout, but you still have to report it." And he said, we did not, but nobody thought that it would be so close. And what happened here was, uh, how can a Democrat do so well in such a Republican state? He went above and beyond. He only had 24% of the people that voted were Hispanic, but he did so good. So they were all freaking out, like, what's going on there in Texas? And that's when they started the little machine, the Democratic machine started saying, well, if he did so good, and he went practically door to door, he came to our county, he came to every county. He just did what the other one wasn't doing. He didn't care. So he got a lot of recognition. A lot of people voted for him. It was just a wow. And it was a big deal because if you look at the past ones, Democrats were never even close to what he did. So that's why they were like, well, if he can do that in just Texas, maybe we should start doing more door to door, more campaigning. I got a lot of on my phone. I had many people calling me and texting me about where to go to the rallies and vote for Beto. And I mean, he just did a lot of push, push, push. Phone, he showed up at our doorstep practically. He just did so much. So now they're reevaluating the Democratic parties saw it, the Republican Party, they're like, well, maybe he has something. He completely turned something around there. He was just so close in a Republican state. So they're now looking at what he was doing, and they're rethinking how they're going to be doing the campaigns. Democrats need a lot of help right now. So and that's what another part I mean. I'm here. I'm contracted to do international politics. That's what I'm supposed to. I'm training on spirit and international. That's my contract. Since I was a child, I knew that. Those are my things. I even went to school. I got my bachelor's in political science because that's my thing. So it's very interesting. Everything's going on. The spirit, the energy that's coming through, everything is coming together for a reason. People are like, oh, I don't understand why Trump won. If you understood the energies, if you understood what's going on, you would understand why Trump won. It's not just because, there's a lot going on. And that's why you have all these women going. This is the energy that's come through. Well, I better go. It's already been an hour and a half. And this is my first time. I was just told that you got to start going in today. You got to learn to do live. And so that's what I'm doing today. And yes, I'm very woo-woo. If you have any questions on spirit, I have to right now, I'm concentrating on spirit because that's what's coming in, the energies. Once you start following energies, very easy once you work with the council. Because if you don't understand why something is in review, because it looks normal to you, they will show you the underlying energy, and that's when you're able to understand, oh, that's what that is, and that's the best way of getting that. And that's where I learned about energies. And so when someone lies to me, I'll still be in awe because I'll be looking at the energy under. It's like, wow, that took a lot of training to lie to me like that, you know? It's like, wow, good for you. You actually learned your lie. So, yeah, people will lie to you and you're just like, oh, okay. And sometimes I get blocked because I'm not supposed to follow the energy under the person because they're gonna deceive me, and I'm gonna feel an emotion of a personal hurt or emotional of being deceived. All that is emotion that we're that's what we're here for. Good and bad is our language here. It's like, oh, that's so bad. And then you feel great emotions, like, oh, that's so good. There's still emotion. Either way you go, you're learning something new. So people say, oh, I don't want, yeah, bad things happen to good people because we are here training. That's why. And we can't get that just as spirit. So, this is actually, whether we think of it here as bad, once you get out, you're going to be like, good, I learned that emotion. Great, I learned what that energy meant. Like for years, I always thought, what was that flash of light, for? Well, it was I was pregnant. So many things that when you follow that energy, you learn. You just have to concentrate. What was it? But I become stiff as a board, and people keep asking me, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" It's like, so I have to always. I taught my kids, if I go like this, if I put my hands in front of me, that means I am following energy. Please don't ask me questions. Please don't ask if I need an ambulance. I am trying to follow energy. So my kids know if I put my hands up, they need to leave me alone. So you got to learn these things. But they're getting easier, so more people are able to understand them. Okay, I better go now. How do I get out of here? Okay. Okay, see you guys. Let me see, Dad, GPK, and Floodwater Music. My only two people. Well, you gotta start somewhere, right? Gotta start at the bottom. Bootstrap it like Beto did. Okay, I better go.